So Ram, ये सब प्रभु कृपा है.
When investors ask me, what about competition? I say that if there is a day where we don't find a guy to lend, that's where our job is done, right?
New movie that would be made के Roti, Kapda और Makaan और loan.
Harsh.
Ram. Ram.
Please इस podcast को जाने दो और भी करना है मेरे को.
Hello and Namaskar. My name is Ram Deshpande. I am the host of a new podcast series called the Lendingkart Show. In this series, we will be speaking with our leaders from Lendingkart, the people who are driving innovation and disrupting the finance industry like no other, and doing it as one team. I also recommend you to listen to our earlier podcast series, which was hosted by our colleague Kinney, where she had interviewed all our leaders. Those podcasts are available on our YouTube and Spotify channels. We take that discussion forward and get into further details of Lendingkart and the Fintech industry overall. Now let's go and start the Lendingkart Show. This year has been quite a year for us, so we decided to do a podcast series, and we wanted to hear it directly from the horse's mouth. Well, आप लोग घोड़े नहीं है, लेकिन stallions है stallions. Listen to this: 5 consecutive quarters of profitable growth, GPTW certification, potential plans for an IPO. Oh भाई साहब, cool company बोले तो Lendingkart. And for this, I am here today with our founder and CEO Harshvardhan Lunia. Harsh,
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Ram.
This is the Lendingkart Show. This is going to be a series.
Okay.
Depending on how this one goes.
Ram, मैंने commitment कर दिया आपको. Podcast के दौरान मैं धुलाई नहीं करूँगा आपको.
Thank you so much. I really need that.
Yeah.
No pressure. But I think it's important for us to talk about our company.
Yeah.
And talk about how we have come to the point where we are.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that we start with,
Yeah.
and we might as well just dive into the business end of it first, and that comes from the co-lending partnerships and all the stuff that's going on around the world. And some time back, we started big on this one. Our platform business has grown so significantly. What's your view on that? How did you think of it? How did it all come about? So, and how's the industry going for this one? Because there's a lot of chatter about this.
Yeah, I think Ram, today when we do it and we are doing it at scale, it normally comes up as a fact that it happened just one fine day and we started doing it and building it. I think the seeds of this were sown when basically Lendingkart was born in 2014, right? We all realized that we will have our own set of capabilities, we will have our own set of strengths that we will work on overall. And I think partnering with the ecosystem, collaborating with the ecosystem is going to be super critical. We knew that when we started building Lendingkart that we will have agility, we will have strength to build technology, product, data science pieces of it. And there will always be our partners and collaborators who will go ahead and offer us their strengths, right? Which could be depositors' money, having customers, current account, savings account. I think this was in the build-up. I think across the years as we have started building ourselves overall and across as the journey has proceeded, now the ecosystem has also realized that this is the next way forward, this is the next thing to happen overall, and that is what has happened all across. I had shared with you earlier as well one thought that in last decade, 10 to 20, when we started out in 2014, basically all of the institutions were in the early stages of thinking about digital strategy, right? Overall, and everybody thought that we will go ahead and build it on our own and everything. I think till 20 or 1920, that was the thought process that everybody wanted to build it on our own.
Right.
But I think COVID was an eye-opener for all of us where we realized that digital is here and now. And I think for this decade, everybody's realized that everybody needs to play on their strength. Everybody has to go ahead and build the parts which they are much capable of. We can be the front end, we can be the UI, UX, we can be the experience engagement for the customer. And that's what we have phenomenally done. And touchwood, last 2 years, we've got phenomenal partners with us who provide us the balance sheet support and back end as well.
Right. Yeah, we've publicly also not so many of our partners. We have about more than 20 companies which are working with us. And we have talked about this on our Fintech ka Baap and all, right? What's going on over there, basically? We have our numbers out there in the public. Obviously, we're a regulated entity, so we're not lying on our numbers for sure.
Yeah.
But what was this all about, Harsh?
So Ram, ये सब प्रभु कृपा है. And basically, Fintech ka Baap is basically, I should add a caveat over here. It's by its author and the marketing head of our company, right? And I think everybody should look out at it. Oh, who's our marketing head? So any blame or any credit has to go to its author, right?
Alright. So well played.
I dissolve myself of all the responsibilities of this.
No problems. So let's come back to this one. So when we talk about fintech and specifically in that lending tech, that is what seems to be the go-to thing for most companies to achieve profitability.
Yeah.
That is something that Lendingkart is born into. But a lot of other companies are now jumping in, and I think there are certain reports which suggest that there is more than $240 billion of opportunity in lending tech. And that is where the profitability is. What's your view on that? How are these companies coming in? How do you see these companies now adding lending products to their portfolio?
Yeah, Ram, a very pertinent question that you've asked, right? I think we are moving towards an economy overall, or institutions are all moving across where things are converging, right? Today what's happening is we talk about embedded solutions, we talk about embedded financing and everything. What does embedded solutions basically mean is that the convergence of various financial services, the convergence of strengths of various financial players put together to serve one nice product overall to the end consumer, right? In fintech space, we basically know we have 3-4 critical areas that need to be solved, right? One is insurance tech, investment tech, credit tech, and payments tech, right? Overall, and all of them are solving out. I think all of them require enough investment and effort to go in there, right? But one of the differentiation of lending tech is the length of the transaction, right? So when we give out a loan, it's for 2-3 years. You can generate revenue and income from that, and you have a certain cost attached to it. Similarly, in payments tech or credit tech or insurance tech, the transactions or the volumes are more, but the transactions are particular instance only. When you buy an insurance, when you buy an investment policy, or you do some investment. So the volumes are higher, the numbers are lower. In lending tech, the volumes are also higher, but the numbers can be much better overall because the length of the transaction is much higher. So I think a lot of investment has gone in all the other 3 areas as well. But this could be one area, lending tech, that could help them stabilize their businesses, that could help them stabilize and make it more sustainable in the short run, right? Because this is a long journey. We'll all have to build for next 1 or 2, 3 decades for the ecosystem for us to be really serving all the population or all the sections of our society. I think lending tech is a good piece where all our payments, investech and insurtech people can participate and make their businesses sustainable and profitable with some portions going over there while they continue investing in their core businesses.
But so you're quite fine with all these companies adding lending as a product to their portfolio. But doesn't that give more competition to Lendingkart? Or is it like too much of a choice for a customer? How do you differentiate then in that sort of a market? So, or is differentiation even required, or is execution the secret sauce?
Got it. See, Ram, again, what we are all trying to solve, right? And we all understand that it can be basically, we are all trying to solve either, we call that a missing middle or bottom of the pyramid. The critical piece here is providing access to all of them, right? We all talk about the fact that we have more than 130 crore of people in our country, almost 10, 15, 20 crore are only served the rightful financial services. What about the rest 100 crore, right? What all these institutions are trying to do from their part is basically that these products are finally, they are trying to make it reach to the nooks and corners of the country, right? And the market's so huge, right? One lending cart might not be able to serve all of them. So if there are 10 lending carts, then perfectly fine. If there are 10 payment companies who get into lending, they are perfectly fine. So the idea is, can we all solve for access to financing required by our fellow countrymen overall, right? That's what is required. So I think it's, and the demand is umpteen, right? All of us know, and we talk about billions and billions of dollars, like MSME sector we are in, micro and small businesses. It's kind of like $350–400 billion requirements. Again, consumer is again a very separate requirement. We had one large consulting company coming up that till in next 5 years, the digital loan requirements in the country will be $1 trillion, right? It's pretty large overall.
It's quite a lot.
So we will have a lot of people who will go ahead and build those kind of solutions, use those kind of technologies, right? I think this also has that the latest new players, right? They are having alternate forms of data, right? Whether you invest in short tech and payments as well, they have alternate set of data. They can use alternate sense of, like, we build an algorithm, right? We basically gone ahead and build an algorithm to identify the probability of default for micro and small businesses, right? And that's basically with banking data. That's basically with other alternate or transaction data.
But could these institutions use the volume of the data? Payments companies could use their volume of data. Insurance companies could use their volume of data, what kind of asset they have and everything like that. Can they identify means and medium of understanding the probability of default or credit of these guys, right? Can they use NLP-based systems, machine learning-based systems? We talk about deep learning and all those systems, right? Because data does the trick these days, right? And if you have right kind of data available, if you can work on that kind of data and identify solutions for the consumers, nothing like it, right? So that's where I think the competition makes a lot more sense, where systems become more efficient, systems become more prudent and pertinent for the end borrower, right? See, again, my always thought has been in this question when investors ask me, what about competition? I say that if there is a day where we don't find a guy to lend, that's where our job is done, right? You want to be in that stage where there is a fight going on for the last borrower in the country left. I think we are still far away from that. So all competition is very welcome, Ram.
I think we should just add financing to the basic needs.
Yes, exactly.
Clothing, food, shelter and financing.
Financing, exactly.
So I think the new movie that would be made, Roti, Kapda or Makaan or loan.
No, I think you touched upon some of these aspects, especially the technological things, whether it's embedded solutions. What are those ones? Let's dive in a little bit about that. What are these new age technologies that we hear about, and how is that coming into fintech, firstly, or specifically in the context of Lendingkart? How are you bringing all of that stuff into our regular processes?
So again, Ram, for this decade, right? Like for last decade, if you look at 10 to 20, all the institutions were trying to solve for 2-3 infrastructure things, right? The first infrastructure thing was, if you have to go digital, you had to solve for a need for a hardware, right? In developed economies, you have desktop laptops, which is there with people. In India, a small or micro business or a small salaried guy would not have access to a desktop laptop or anything like that. But mobile phone revolution did wonderfully well for us. Second thing that we were trying to solve in infrastructure was illiteracy, right? In illiteracy in India, it's not actually education, but it's 22 languages, right? Where businesses are run and schools are run and you do businesses in those languages. You design one application form in English and the entire country is done in developed economies. We don't have that, right? So we had to solve for that. Third was access to data and authentic data, which could be digitally available to you. And you could give out a digital loan, right? We've had since ages, we've had websites of banks which would take your application form, but then still you had to submit a 5 kg plus file to the bank with all the papers and then get the loan done, right? So I think 10 to 20 went in solving for these infrastructure problems. Now we are at a stage where all of these problems have got solved. We are basically talking about open banking, basically through account aggregator architecture. We are talking about best public infrastructure in the world in terms of basically India stack, right? eKYC, sign-in,
all the digital public goods.
All the digital public goods, right? And now we are also moving towards the new age data usage, right? Whether it's OKN, ONDC, GEM, Sahai and all those things. So those things are happening. I think, Ram, for this decade, again, all the fintechs will have to solve for 3 things, right? The first thing that all of us will need to solve is now go totally to digital and cloud native, right? I think last decade was still a decade where all of us felt that the branches or number of people you had could be your strength. But now, what is your user UI, UX, how is your website, can he reach out to you conveniently in nooks and corners of the country, and access to finance is all based on cloud and digital nativity. Second important piece is, Ram, we haven't had our time where the revolution, the kind of shampoo sachet that we saw in FMCG, right? That miniaturization, micro miniaturization or personalization for the needs of the borrowers has still not happened, right? We are still going to see that piece happen, and that's still going to happen. This is all possible with the data. This is all possible with the data that we all have and we are phenomenally using, right? Third is, I think for the longest time, if you look at all the internet industries that we talk about, right? Whether it's e-commerce or delivery, right? We tell that we are a generation of instant gratitude, right? And if your Swiggy order gets delayed by 15 minutes, we get hassled. If our e-commerce delivery gets hassled by a day, we get hassled, right? This will follow to financial services. You cannot disrespect the consumer and borrower and not give him answer for ages, right? This will follow through. The next generation will ask for a instant gratitude kind of answers from the originators of loan and everything. We need to solve for all of these things, right? And if you ask me, will the conventional people, manual processes, manual systems solve for it? No, all of us will have to deep dive into customer experience, customer engagement, user-first technologies, agile technologies, deep learning, machine learning, NLP-based systems, data security, understanding the consumer better, embedded solutions. All these words that are coming up are finally all aligned to the fact that can we give a better experience and a better product to the consumer, right? And all these things are which will differentiate the last few decades of financial services and the coming decade of financial services.
Right. Very interesting stuff. Now, and when we look at Lendingkart's own numbers and put that in this context, because we have had pretty great numbers in the last few quarters, right? I mean, अपने मुंह मियाँ मिट्टू नहीं होते हैं, but भाई है.
हाँ, मैं यही बोलने वाला था अभी. Control कर लो.
हाँ, मतलब we are always humble.
Yeah. Not that, but still we are humble.
हाँ, मतलब हम लोग ही टार्जन नहीं बन रहे.
टार्जन नहीं बन रहे.
But behind the scenes, there were tons of challenges that we overcame. You know, what are those challenges, and how technology helped us overcome those challenges? I think that would be very interesting to know.
Yeah, a pertinent question again, यार. And Ram, we've gone through a black swan event, right? And I think वो जो बोलते हैं ना कि हमने बीड़ा उठाया था कि small and micro businesses को loan देंगे. So, and we've continued doing that, right?
And by that you refer to the COVID pandemic.
COVID pandemic, exactly, right? तो वो बीड़ा था कि यार उस segment को serve करेंगे, and when our business is linked to them, right? And they all went through a struggle, they all went through a fight, and we all know, right? And all of us went through that. We did have our salaries coming from our company, but they are the smaller businesses who had to shut down their businesses for 3-4 months and not have money. So I think that's where the learning was that they went through troubles, but if you're digitally connected, right? You didn't need to meet him, you didn't need to see him, you didn't need to overall meet him, you didn't need to do everything stuff like that overall, right?
All the document
collections, staying connected with him, staying connected with his financial health, overall health and everything, that worked phenomenally well. So I think one thing I've realized is digital is the next way forward, where you did not be close to that person, but you're still very close to that person, right, overall. And that's what a lot of things have done. If you look at e-commerce, right, what they've done is brought storefront to our home, right? We did not be connected to the kirana store or the apparel store. They brought it to us. Similarly, for delivery, we did not go to the restaurant to have food, they brought it to us. This is the change that will come in financial services as well. And they have come. And I think one of the reasons of our success and good success and good numbers that we are seeing is consumers are appreciating this fact. Consumers are appreciating the fact that you're reducing my effort, you're connected with me and everything. So I think these are the learnings that happened, Ram.
Correct. So one of the biggest things is the profitability and consistency at that. Is consistency the key for success here?
I think consistency is the key for success for everything, Ram, right? And we just chatted that why is Sachin Tendulkar, obviously, because there's a lot of Sachins. So why is Sachin obviously the god of cricket, right? Because if he had to play a cover drive or a long drive, right, he consistently does that in the same fashion, right? Overall, you don't need to reinvent anything, right? Overall, and continuously do that. You just need to pay that long drive, cover drive again, and again, and that's what we've done, right? We've believed in our ecosystem, we've believed in our customer, we've consistently improved ourselves in terms of kind of credit product we deliver, how we interact, engage with them, and how we communicate with them and everything. And that's consistency is what has helped us achieve. I think this also follows from the fact that we've always kept our fundamentals clear, right? Fundamentals could be consistency in business, focus in business, sustainability, keeping customer first, taking care of him, keeping regulatory things in place and everything. Everything's going that way. If you plan and prepare and consistently do the same thing, success is bound to come.
Yeah, I remember one of our initial conversations when I joined was like, why are we not getting into auto loans or personal things? And then you had told, look, each of these is a different product. We need to be very clear of what we are getting into. Now, when we look at the MSME segment, वो तो फोड़ दिया है, मान लेते हैं, मतलब
नहीं है, लेकिन
अभी फोड़ा नहीं है, चलो शुरुआत हो गई है, अब उस सेगमेंट के लिए और क्या करेंगे? What are the other products? I mean, is there a scope for doing more products, or this what we are doing right now? That itself is a huge market, sure. But और क्या कर सकते हैं हम लोग अभी MSMEs के लिए?
Good question, Ram. 9 साल हो गए, अब नया कहला रहे हो.
मतलब कस्टमर क्या मांग रहा है, या अगर कस्टमर की जरूरत है हमें क्या नहीं पता?
दोनों है, मतलब कस्टमर क्या मांग रहा है, मुझे इन्वेस्टर को क्या बेचना है.
No, I think pertinent question. We have reached a size and scale in our core business, obviously, right? हम लोगों ने almost 14-15 हजार crore lend कर दिया है market में, and we are doing reasonably well now. Every year on year, coming year we might do 6-7,000 crores more, right? Again, so ये भी था कि हमारा वो था कि हमने पहले जो 1 साल में किया, हमने 1 क्वार्टर में किया, अब 1 महीने में कर रहे हैं हम वो नंबर. So that has always been the case with us, but I think, like I said, right, you need to one, personalize the service, and secondly, engage and communicate better with the consumer, right? So Ram, if you look at our numbers, right, we've lent out 14-15,000 crore. We typically give a loan of 5% to the borrower on his revenues. So, if 14-15,000 crore 5% कर देते हो, तो we've actually helped revenues of we've actually अच्छा ये नंबर दिखा रहे हैं क्या? We've actually helped
हर क्वार्टर 1,000 करोड़ हो गया ना अभी हमें.
हर क्वार्टर 1,000 करोड़ हो गया एक्चुअली. हाँ, हमें कितने साल लगे थे? हमें पहले से 4 साल लगे थे पहले 1,000 करोड़ करने में एक्चुअली. तो
अब 3 महीने में हो रहा है.
अब 3 महीने में हो रहा है एक्चुअली. और आप इसको एक महीने में लेके जाओगे, राइट? टीम लेके जाएगी मतलब.
इरादे नेक हैं.
नहीं तो बेसिकली थॉट यही था राम के, how can we get deeper in our connect with our borrower, right? Personalized service. एकदम personalized कैसे दे सकते हो कि यार राम का लोन अमाउंट अलग हो, हर्ष का लोन अमाउंट, इंटरेस्ट रेट, टेनर सब अलग हो और एकदम पर्सनलाइज हो राम के रिक्वायरमेंट्स और हर्ष की रिक्वायरमेंट्स में. दूसरा, what will help us stay more connected with that guy. तो जैसे मैं एग्जांपल दे रहा था कि 14-15 हजार करोड़ लैंड किया है और 5% है तो कुछ 2.5-3 लाख करोड़ के रेवेन्यूज हमने जनरेट किए हैं कंट्री के अंदर, राइट? अभी द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज वी आर गिविंग हिम अ लोन फॉर 12 to 18 months या 36 months के हम लोन देते हैं, बट वी डोंट नो वेयर ही स्पेंड्स दैट मनी, वेयर ही यूजेस दैट काइंड ऑफ मनी. So if we can start having the color of that 2.5-3 lakh crore where the money is going, it will help us understand him better. It might help us in designing the next product that we do better, right? And it will also help us in staying connected across the journey. Now, currently what we do is we give him a 24-36 month loan, and other than the frequent calls or intermittent calls that we do to him to engage with him, right, on a quarterly or 6 monthly basis, we don't get data from him, right? Once given a loan, it's given a loan. So I think another piece that we are looking at and another credit product could be an SME card, right? It's one, it helps us diversify from a term loan. Secondly, it reduces the duration of our credit period, right? Basically, our loans are from 24 to 36 months. This could go from 30 to 50 days or maybe to 12 months as well. That's it. And secondly, with these card spends, we will know the nature of the transactions as well, and maybe help him better understand his cash flows, maybe help him better understand his risk and everything. And like I said, Ram, data is gonna be the key. Data is gonna be commoditized as well. Data is gonna be the key, but finally you will have tons and tons of data and technologies available, whether you do deep learning or AI or ML or NLP based systems as we call it. Like literally every school now teaches artificial intelligence. Literally every school now talks about ML based systems. Every college has to have that, right? Every college needs to have a lecture on or a series on fintech and everything. But that is all finally will have to lead us to something, right? And that is there. So SME cards is another big thing that we are looking at for ourselves.
I think that's probably a very inclusive product because this segment has sort of been excluded from this particular financial product. Correct. A lot of banks and established institutions probably are not that keen on that. I don't know, maybe most likely. So that's the white space in the industry.
Our partners will be keen, don't worry.
नहीं सही है. तो अभी IPO की भी बात करी है आपने. आई थिंक हमने कुछ देखा था जहाँ पे आपने बोल चुके हो कि भाई IPO आई थिंक बहुत सारी स्टार्टअप्स हैं जिन्होंने IPO करा है रिसेंटली, और मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि सारे ही सक्सेस हुए हैं. I think they're coming back. Some of these things are, I think it's very encouraging to see some of these signs. But what's your sense in terms of the IPO plans and whatnot? How are we preparing for that, or what would be the great thing because of which our IPO could be a success?
See again,
in the sense I'm talking more about the input metrics. I'm not talking about IPO as an exit event.
Got it. No, makes sense. See, again, like you said, IPO is an exit event as well, because see what happens is typically when it's a marriage of sorts, right? It's normally told that investors come to you. It's a kind of a marriage. So investors bring in capital, founders and team bring in labor. The final outcome is they build a good thing where both of them can monetize, right, overall, and the ecosystem can monetize, they can monetize and everything. I think IPO or an exit event is kind of leads to that, because finally investors are also bringing in money as trustees of some other person, right? And we as
when we as a management run the company, we are trustees of that money that somebody else has got from somebody else, and it's pertinent to give returns to people as well. So IPO for us is that milestone, or one of the milestones, right, across 10, 15, 20 years, where we've been delivering good services to our consumers. We've been working phenomenally well in the ecosystem. IPO or an exit event sounds as a good milestone for our investors as well, who trusted us across all the journey.
Sure.
I think, like you said, all the other companies who did that thing, right, they had the right intent. I think just that the businesses were very different, right? There are certain businesses that will make money from maybe day zero. There are certain businesses that take 3 to 5 years to make money, and there are certain businesses you need to invest for 10, 15, 20 years, right? And reach a certain size and scale. Like I said, financial service or lending tech, the transaction duration is 3, 4, 5 years, and you earn a lot. A delivery or a e-commerce company, the transaction duration is very small, the amount is very small, so the commissions and the revenue that you can earn is very small. So volumes has to be right. Then there are businesses that have perpetual demand, like a lending tech. Then there are businesses where you need to generate the demand because it's a change of behavior, change of nature of way and everything that we do, right? Overall, so all these things are happening. I think people have taken right steps. They are moving in right direction, and the managements are doing reasonably good job. Only thing is now they are also thinking of how to make it more sustainable, right? Maybe can the capital investment that they've been continuing to do, can that be delayed a little bit to make it more sustainable and those kind of stuff. So it's, if you ask me the long-term story, all of them works wonderfully well, right? We have international examples of them doing it, right? You can look at Amazon, you can look at JD.com and those kind of companies. Similarly in delivery and all those spaces as well, Uber, Ola and all those spaces as well, we've had phenomenal examples who've changed the world, right? And Facebook and Googles of the world have already done that. So I think they are in the right space, right place, just that they will have to transition to more sustainable businesses, which is what is happening. For us, the good part is we are in a space, Ram, where demand is, it's a pull product. We don't have to go and sell a loan product that much. People come to us for that product. And that's why I think we would be in a better position when we go for an IPO. But the ecosystem also knows that, right? Because there have already been the companies who have delivered loan product before us overall and earned money. So as fintechs, we cannot take that leeway for too long that we won't earn money. So that's the entire thought.
Ah, cool. Looking forward to that for sure, and a lot of employees would be too.
You're talking about yourself, right?
घर वर खरीदना थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा. But अभी अगर मैं देखूं, and I've been here for some time now, there is a change that you have experienced yourself personally. Initially, you were the guy doing a lot of things. Now there are things have just become bigger and bigger, and there is a lot of other people who are now taking care of a bunch of things for you. How's that transition been like? Of course, overnight तो नहीं हुआ है.
नहीं.
But धीरे-धीरे मतलब कैसे होता है वो कि भाई चलो ये आप कर लो, मैं इसमें नहीं देखूंगा. ऐसा होता है या?
नहीं, आप बेसिकली बोल रहे हो माइक्रो मैनेज कब बंद करोगे ऐसा?
नहीं, मैं माइक्रो मैनेज की बात नहीं करता, बोल देता हूँ माइक्रो मैनेज करते हो करके.
नहीं तो आई थिंक
एक हर फाउंडर का होता है ना, आपकी बेबी जो होती है, यू नो, आप मतलब एक किसी को हैंडल करने को दे रहे हो, चलो आप कर लो भाई, यू नो.
तो अभी यही है कि दिस इज लाइक यू सेड, इट्स ग्रोइंग अप अ बॉय, राइट? तो आप बचपन में जब वो होता है तो 0 to 3 या 0 to 5 years के अंदर यू विल हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ हिम, हिज नीड्स एंड एवरीथिंग, एंड ही कैन नॉट बेसिकली share his needs, right? And you'll have to understand and do the rightful things. 5 to 10 is a period where you'll start sharing his needs as well, but you'll have to give him independence as well to let him do it whenever he wants and everything. And 10 to 15, you just be a observer of his actions and everything, and you just guide him whenever he requires that push and everything. So it's been a transition for us, Ram, as well. From that, now we are in a stage where it's 10 to 15 for me. Not that I can relax, and anxiety ज़्यादा होती है और कोई कर रहा होता है, मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि मेरा काम कम हो गया है, but
नींद शायद उसके उड़ते कि मैं have I got the right person for the right job.
हाँ, exactly. So I think the idea is, देखो, technically in a steady state I have to do 3 roles for the company, right? The first role is to identify a North Star, कि यार 5 साल 10 साल बाद में LendingKart क्या बनेगा. Second critical role is to assemble the right people, right? The Avengers अगर बना रहे हैं तो right Avengers हैं या नहीं हैं, और are they complementary, not complementary and everything, and right kind of people जिनको दुनिया बचानी है मेरे साथ में, या दुनिया बदलनी है मेरे साथ में, तो मेरी Avengers की टीम को वैसा होना पड़ेगा. Third, the most important thing is to make resources available, whether it's money, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's ecosystem and everything available to the team to execute. अगर जैसे आप काम का बोलोगे तो काम आता है सेकंड पॉइंट में. दैट ओनली फॉल्स फ्रॉम द फैक्ट दैट आई हैव टू इन द 10 to 15 years का जर्नी है, 15 to 20 का जर्नी है जो चाइल्ड का ग्रोइंग अप का, उसके अंदर बेसिकली यू हैव टू जस्ट विजुअलाइज वेदर दैट person is doing good or not, and if not doing good, guide, mentor him, and if still not, then you have to take calls and decisions, right? But you cannot do the work of that guy because वो वापस बोलते हैं ना कि फिश नहीं दे सकते, अब उसको फिशिंग सिखाना पड़ेगा. तो अब वो रोल आ गया मेरा कि फिशिंग सिखाना पड़ेगा, डंडे मार के करूँ जैसे भी करूँ, लेकिन that is more pertinent, so that role I will have to say. It's not easy. It is all about learning leadership as well, right? I'll be very candid के लेंडिंग कार्ड के पहले ना तो लीडरशिप आती थी, कुछ आती थी, मैंने ज़्यादा लोग भी मैनेज नहीं किए थे, एंड मेरे से ज़्यादा सीनियर तो कभी देखे भी नहीं थे, राइट? इंस्टीट्यूशन मेरा बॉस ही होता था और कोई होता भी नहीं था. बट नाउ ऑल ऑफ द पीपल दैट आई वर्क विद आर एक्सपर्ट्स इन देयर फील्ड्स एंड दे माइट हैव 10x more knowledge than me, right? But only thing that I bring to the table is having seen the journey from baby to 15 years. I know the DNA of the company, what will work, what will not work. And from those things, can we jointly pick up those things which will work for LK and execute? तो वो guidance वाला ही है पूरा का पूरा.
बहुत सही. अच्छे मूड में लग रहे हो आप. तो मैं सोचता हूँ कि अगले साल के टारगेट की भी बात कर ही लें. तो क्या टारगेट सेट कर रहे हैं आप अभी नेक्स्ट, मतलब खुद के ऊपर प्रेशर और हमारे ऊपर भी बहुत प्रेशर डालने का इरादा है?
हाँ, तो जैसे इस साल 4000 करोड़ किया है, तो टिपिकली मैं 25,000 करोड़ सोचता हूँ नेक्स्ट ईयर के लिए. बट वो 25,000 करोड़ में ये हो रहा होता कि सब लोग मुझे कागज पे साइन देके जा रहे थे, हमारा रेजिग्नेशन आप भर लेना, या मुझे ब्लैंक ईमेल्स आ रहे थे, आई एम लिविंग, मतलब CXOs के. तो दैट इज, मतलब मेरी चाह तो 25,000 करोड़ की है, लेकिन आप लोगों ने टोन डाउन कर करके मतलब 4,100 से शुरू करके हम बीच में मांडोली करेंगे. And we will stop.
Everything is a negotiation.
Everything is a negotiation, right?
Correct.
So I'll start from the fact जहाँ बोलो मैं नहीं खेल रहा. फिर आपका नंबर आएगा जहाँ मैं बोलो मैं नहीं खेल रहा. And then we will arrive at that.
Correct.
But I think let's see, we've done 4,000 crore this year. Hopefully 6,000-7,000 crore somewhere in between.
So that's the, I mean, yeah, I think it's reasonable.
Yeah.
So let's see. अभी
Hopefully, right? अभी रिकॉर्ड कर रहा है ना कोई reasonable है. Yeah.
नहीं, I think more important that's the output.
हाँ.
As we saw this year also.
Yeah, correct.
Because इस साल जब हम लोग पिछले साल इस साल की प्लानिंग कर रहे थे, तो लग रहा था कि 4,000 करोड़ भी भाई क्या बोल रहे हो भाई साहब, मतलब कूद जाए क्या हम यहाँ से.
मुझे तो नहीं लग रहा था. मुझे तो कम ही लग रहा था, बहुत दुख हो रहा था मुझे 4,000 करोड़ लेके, बट ठीक है आपने बोला
भी लग रहा था कूद जाते हैं, लेकिन हम लोग फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे टांगे टूटेगी सिर्फ, और कुछ होगा नहीं.
करेक्ट.
So what are the inputs that you seek? But in the sense, input in the sense, what are the different things that will go into making this number? Because
correct. So I think Ram, you've been here, right, for now, and I think you've been participant of last year's process, this year's process. What we've done is it's an organic process, right? तो मैं नंबर तो दे दूंगा कि ये करना है, बट देन फाइनली वी वर्क विद बॉटम्स अप अप्रोच, राइट? कि नीचे वाले आदमी को जाके पूछना है, अपना जो सोल्जर है, कि भैया तू क्या कर पाएगा, तू हमें बता क्या कर पाएगा, हमें तुझे क्या देना है, हाउ डू वी इक्विप, हाउ डू वी गाइड, मेंटर, ट्रैक, एंड दैट फॉलोज अप फ्रॉम बॉटम्स अप. कि नीचे वाली जनता को पूछो, फिर उसके मैनेजर के पास जाएंगे, फिर उसके ऊपर मैनेजर के पास जाएंगे, फिर फाइनली उसके ऊपर जाएंगे, फिर CXO के पास आएगा, फिर मेरे पास आएगा. एंड दैट्स द वे वी फॉलोड, राइट? एंड दैट इज द इंटरेक्शन वी बीन डूइंग. आई थिंक 2-3 महीने इसीलिए लगते हैं हम इसके अंदर कि भैया जो नंबर आए उसकी डेप्थ हो, जो नंबर आए पता हो सबको क्या करना है, और नंबर आए उसके अंदर वी हैव कॉन्करेंस फ्रॉम एवरीवन, राइट? And I think that is the net practice. Like we talked about Sachin as well, consistency in strokes है, तो वो consistency in strokes starts from net practice. Where before the day of the game, अगर टेस्ट मैच खेल रहे हैं, like I always joke it's a test match. You need to know कि first session में क्या करूँगा, second session में क्या करूँगा, third session में क्या करूँगा. First session खराब गया तो क्या करूँगा, second session खराब गया तो क्या करूँगा, पिच ने टर्न लिया तो क्या करूँगा, पिच ने नहीं टर्न लिया तो क्या करूँगा, 5th डे की पिच कैसी होगी, 5th डे तक मैच लेके जाना ही नहीं जाना. हम लास्ट डे तक लेके जाते हैं हर बार, लेकिन इस बार नहीं लेके जाएंगे. तो all that goes into style है वो. हाँ, all that goes into planning overall, but yeah, so that's how we work and prepare for it.
I think one of the most interesting things that happened last year also is like we were talking about something, we'll do this, and I went to you with something, and he said, अच्छा ये तो ठीक है, ये तो प्लान A है, मुझे प्लान D दिखाओ. और उसके बीच में प्लान B, प्लान C भी दिखा देना. अगर ये नहीं हुआ तो क्या करेंगे, वो नहीं हुआ तो क्या करेंगे, वो नहीं हुआ तो क्या करेंगे.
तो वो प्रॉब्लम 10 से 15 साल वाले ग्रोथ फेज का है, जहाँ बच्चे को आप छोड़ रहे हो ना, तो उसको पूछना पड़ता है भैया ये नहीं हुआ तो क्या होगा. तो मैंने ये भी रियलाइज कर लिया कि प्लान A नहीं है तो प्लान B तो ठीक है, प्लान D मांगो तब प्लान B and C बनता है और रीजनेबल बनते हैं. या करेक्ट.
Obviously, congratulations on the acquisition of Upwards. Quite an awesome thing. कैसा लग रहा है और how are we planning to utilize Upwards in our umbrella of things basically?
यार अच्छा तो लग रहा है बट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फील हो रही है बिकॉज पैसा खर्च किया हमने काफी तो धंधा बनाना पड़ेगा बट आई थिंक दिस इज ऑल
भाई 100 करोड़
हाँ दिस इज ऑल
क्या हो सकता है 100 करोड़ में
करेक्ट आपका मेरा दोनों का घर आ सकता है तो बेसिकली द आइडिया इज इन्वेस्टिंग फॉर फ्यूचर राइट वी टॉक्ड अबाउट कि हम मेरा जो core role and North Star wala. So how do I visualize 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where and what we do for Lendingkart. हमने micro and small businesses के अंदर we basically done a good job. But a lot of micro and small businesses also fall in the category of personal people, right? They might not have a documents like Gumasta Dhara or something, right? Overall, can we look at funding those micro and small businesses who might be more resembling to a salaried guy overall and something like that? That is one. Secondly, I think for us to go deeper in the product space, right? So our typical loan amount is like 6-7 lakh rupees. Upwards has been delivering loan amounts of 1 to 2 lakh rupees, right? For us, so a lot of people go above, right? So they normally would go beyond 10, 15, 20 lakhs, 1 crore, 2 crore, anything. But we are thinking of going downstairs, right? Because finally, it comes all to the agenda and aim of Lendingkart, right? The aim is basically to serve the missing middle or underserved or the bottom of the pyramid, and that's where Upwards come into picture for us. That can we move towards that direction and can we start doing digital loans of 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh rupees, and make it worthy for them, make it worthy for us. That's the entire.
And the tech also probably will help with what you were talking earlier about personalizing things.
Personalizing things actually, and secondly, I think salaried segment in India also underserved. Nothing much has been done till now overall. Can we go ahead and solve for that segment as well in a good way? Let's see. That's our try.
Cool, very good. Now let's change tracks a little bit and talk about some of the internal stuff that we have.
Okay.
What I was wondering and genuinely wondering is like, how many meetings do you have in a day? What's your record? अगर कोई record तो शायद प्रियंका को ज़्यादा बताऊँगा but
record would be 17-18 meetings in a day, right? And the day we transitioned from like a test match to a one day. Test match is an hour, right? You know that, and one day is a 40 minutes and T20 is actually 20-minute meetings. I don't mind attending 18 meetings, but jumping from one meeting to another, my mind literally goes bonkers, right? Because I'm jumping from one product to another product, and a lot of times I am also trying to comprehend what's happening in that meeting, what is the data, can I contribute, not contribute, right? Because I also have an appraisal and everything. Not that I worry about it too much, right? And not that I need to as well. As such, but yeah, it does take a toll overall mentally when you're jumping from multiple things. I've requested basically to the team if we can have a special lunch time, if I can have some meditation time in between where I can relax and at least feel myself what's going on, feel things around that. So that's how it works.
Right. आप meditate करते हो? हाँ. कुछ लोग कुछ और कर पाते हैं या नहीं कर पाते हैं especially Wednesday morning वाली जो meeting होती है we have a Wednesday morning meeting which goes on for 2 hours. That's the only long meeting we really have, the only meeting that goes beyond an hour probably, and that's where all the leaders get together and there is an update on all the input as well as output. We're not just talking इस हफ्ते इतना हो, उस हफ्ते क्या करना था हमें, वो हुआ कि नहीं वगैरह वगैरह. मैंने देखा है अपनी sleep patterns, तो मेरा Tuesday night की sleep जो होती है 4 घंटे की होती है as compared to 6-7 hours.
और मेरी I think अगर मैं चेक करूँगा तो Wednesday night would be the best sleep.
मुझे लगता है कि वो Wednesday मीटिंग के बाद कुछ चंद पंक्तियाँ याद आती हैं जो मीटिंग होती है.
जरूर अर्ज कीजिए.
ये महान दृश्य है, चल रहा मनुष्य है, अश्रु श्वेत रक्त से लथपथ. तो आपको रियलाइज होता है क्या कि लोगों के साथ आप क्या करते हो?
ये लाइन मेरे लिए एकदम एप्ट है, राइट? लथपथ अग्निपथ. एवरी वेडनेसडे 2 घंटे के कॉल में मुझे यही फीलिंग आती है, क्या है ये लोगों को मतलब कि. सो या एग्जैक्टली इट फील्स एंड इट्स नॉट easy, right? Essentially because finally when you are growing, we all say that we are wheels of the same engine. But problem क्या है कि वो normally in an engine the wheels are attached. यहाँ हमारे व्हील्स चारों तरफ जा रहे होते हैं, राइट? तो मेरे लिए तो इधर भी इसको भी पकड़ो, उसको भी पकड़ो, इधर भी पकड़ो, इधर भी पकड़ो, और खून से लथपथ होके मैं चले जा रहा.
So that's how the feeling is. But yeah, I think that's the purpose of life. That's the purpose of starting Lendingkart as well.
No, I think that's the good thing also, because that is one avenue where every leader is there and everybody gets to hear about what, and everybody gets equal time. It's not like, because some of the organizations where I worked in the past, like some of these meetings was all about people trying to show how busy they were. कि मेरे पास ये है, मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, मैं कर रहा हूँ, मेरी टीम ये है, वो खाट रही है, वो खाट रही है. वो पॉइंट वो नहीं है कि ये रही इनपुट मैट्रिक्स, ये रही आउटपुट मैट्रिक्स. इस जर्नी के इसमें आपका क्या क्या हो रहा है बताइए. और उसके बाद भी जो एक कल्चर सेट हो गया है, और उसमें राइट फ्रॉम द लोएस्ट लेवल एम्प्लॉई टू यू अप टू, इट्स स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड कैलेंडर बेस्ड मीटिंग सेटिंग. आप लोग मीटिंग उठाओ, तो ये कल्चर सेट करना वाज अ बाय डिजाइन कि भाई हाँ मुझे ऐसी कंपनी में होना चाहिए कि भाई कोई भी किसी से भी मिल सकता है, किसी भी टॉपिक पे बात हो सकती है, और पीपल विल शो अप बेसिकली.
हाँ, I think this is important, right? Because वापस you have the feeling that I always have kept, right? That we are not endowed people, right? I also come from a typical middle class family, born and brought up, have studied and educated and solved for it, right? If we have got a chance to serve the society, serve the nation, and people have trusted us, ecosystem has trusted us, investors have trusted us with money, we need to give it back. And that's one of the reasons that there is no point in doing and running bureaucracy. There is no point in running and doing politics, or there is no point in attending a meeting if you don't have to, right? Because all of us have a lot of work. So I definitely try when I accept my meetings that are those 18 meetings critical, 15 meetings critical, or 12 meetings critical. There are a lot of meetings which I attend just to enrich my knowledge as well, right? Of what's happening, what's not happening, because every day is a learning for me. I think that's the culture, and good part is all the CXO seniors that we have, right? They have come with the same mindset, and I think the reason that they join, and they've joined from best of the institutions, whether it's McKinsey, BCG, Bain, or American Express, or Flipkart, Amazon, and all those institutions, they came for the reason that somehow they felt that they were getting restricted in those institutions, and here they will have a blue sky to go and build. So it's eventually the people who build it and do it, and I think that's how we've hired the right kind of people and right kind of talent and everything. And I've always believed that talent and knowledge is fine, but you need to have the right aptitude and attitude to build something great. That's again flows from that only.
Awesome. Bangalore या अहमदाबाद, कौन सा ऑफिस ज़्यादा अच्छा है?
अहमदाबाद.
गुड़गांव भी आंसर दे सकते हो वैसे.
नहीं, अहमदाबाद मुझे ज्यादा अच्छा लगता है क्योंकि वहाँ क्रिकेट खेल सकते हैं, राइट? एग्जैक्टली, क्रिकेट खेल सकते हैं. बैंगलोर भी अच्छा है बिकॉज
ये वाकई में हुआ था कि कोई एक्सटर्नल कोई आए थे मीटिंग के लिए और वो बोल रहे थे कि हर्ष कहाँ है, हर्ष बिजी है, और पता चला आप क्रिकेट.
हाँ, वो एक्चुअली में हुआ था, मतलब कि फिर मैंने जाके मिलना पड़ा मुझे उनसे, लेकिन हाँ,
या उनको भी बुला लिया. अभी एक और बैटिंग
मुझे बुलाया गया था और मीटिंग इम्प्रॉम्प्टू सेट हुई थी और मेरी बैटिंग चल रही थी. आई कुडंट नहीं छोड़ सकता.
चलो, बहुत बढ़िया. I think this is fantastic. Sure. I think this is lovely chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you for hosting me.
So let's hope that now I can continue and have few more podcasts down there.
नहीं, बस ये मीटिंग खत्म करके नंबर्स डिस्कस कर लेते हैं.
Oh, sure thing. I think I'll need a strong shot of
coffee from Starbucks. I'll allow you that. Don't worry.
Starbucks का तो आपका है ही frequent flyer program.
हाँ, exactly. नहीं, एक कम्युनिटी I've seen is that सारे CXOs जो आते हैं Starbucks fan है, मतलब हमारे. तो मैंने ये रियलाइज किया है कि अहमदाबाद हो या बैंगलोर हो, जहाँ पे भी जाओ स्टारबक्स के अंदर, हमारे सीनियर पीपल, उनकी प्रेफरेंसेस, द स्टोर ओनर्स एंड स्टोर गाइज नो वेरी वेल, राइट? मतलब तो स्टारबक्स से भी रॉयल्टी लेनी पड़ेगी शायद.
ये वीडियो ही स्पॉन्सर करा ले.
एग्जैक्टली.
Thank you so much, Harsh. Thanks a lot for inviting me. Thank you. Stay tuned for more.
Thank you for watching the Lendingkart Show. All our episodes are available on our YouTube and Spotify channels. I'm Ram Deshpande, signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.